So I was watching John Wick, and I started wondering, where did he meet his wife? Now, it could have been something simple or benign, like a bar or a coffee shop or something with beer, coffee, maybe a church, maybe a bookstore, maybe something mundane. But then I realized, this is John Wick. It can't be something mundane. It can't be that boring. It cannot just be something stupid and mundane. So, what it had to be is have to be on a mission. And so I started thinking, and I started bouncing ideas, and I started imagining, and, well, what if it was a target? What if he was assigned to kill his wife, but then he falls in love with her and then decides not to kill her? No, it's kind of boring. How about... No, that's actually really, really boring. How about... Well, actually, that's just absurd, because that's just basically the plot of Mario. No, I don't want that. I don't want him to be a glorified adult Mario. How about then we make him have to save his wife? I mean, assassins sometimes go on rescue missions too. No, that's also boring. Again, we're back to the Mario theme. I don't want this to be a Mario theme. I'm looking for something more interesting. John Wick is a very interesting character with a very vast backstory, so I want it to be interesting. How about John Wick meets his wife on a mission where it has nothing to do with her, it's just an accident, a happy accident, where a bunch of people died. But it was still a happy accident for him. And so, let's think about this. He meets her on a mission. He meets her while he is assigned to kill someone. So... He's a sniper. He's a very good shot, as we see in the movie. And next, how about we make him shoot one guy from another building through the window, but then where does he meet his wife? So there has to be a street scene. Something where John Wick is chasing his target and he runs into his wife somehow. Okay, so how about this? Tower 1, John Wick, is aiming at Tower 2 where his target is, and he shoots into that room and forces the target to leave, but then there's the problem. Does the target go up or down, escape on a helicopter, escape one of the numerous exits? Plus, John Wick may not be able to get to the first floor as quickly as he needs to be. Plus. Now that's too complicated, too convoluted, too much accidents. How about then? We make both of them on ground level. John Wick is across the street from the target. John Wick is on the third floor of a hotel. We'll make the target in a restaurant. But how does he shoot his target and then still meet? How about we make John Wick run into the restaurant instead of being in the hotel? Yes, John Wick runs into the restaurant, guns a-blazing, shoots the target, sees his wife, and sits down for lunch. No, I think this would not work. She seems like too decent a person to fall in love with somebody who just killed somebody in cold blood. That will not work. How about we go back to John Wick being across the street in a hotel on the third floor, aiming into the restaurant on the first floor, but John Wick doesn't have a clear shot. Yes, John Wick aims, but can't get a clean line of fire on his target. So instead of shooting at his target, he shoots at the table to get his target to move, to get him out of the restaurant, and that gets the target and the two bodyguards. Yeah, he has to have two bodyguards. The target has to have two bodyguards. The two bodyguards running into the street. So next we have John Wick and the target on the street. But then we have a problem. How does he meet his wife? How about we make this, the target starts running, and then a bus pulls up and blocks the view of John Wick. Some kind of a little bit of a ex machina situation here, but let's make it simple. The bus blocks his view, so John Wick has to run out of the hotel, run to the street level, and start chasing. And before John Wick can catch up and take out his target, the target hides behind a corner. John Wick carefully looks around and almost gets his head shot off by one of the guards that left with the target. Then John Wick instinctively shoots back, takes out the target, and keeps running. And the target disappears into a building. This will be the place where John Wick gets a chance to call in a cleaner. So John Wick is chasing, runs into the building, looks around, hears noise coming from his left, runs off in that direction. Just before he reaches the door through which the target obviously went, the door is almost closing, and there's just a tiny little crack left. John Wick catches it with his hand. What's next? How about we make it... Oh, the second guard is standing there. The second guard is standing there with a shotgun, waiting for John Wick. John Wick sees the bad guy through the crack while he is trying to... How does he not blow his head off as soon as John Wick tries to... Okay, there's a tiny little crack, and John Wick sees him, but doesn't open it all the way. He aims at him with a gun, but that's just too easy to absurd. It's hard to hit somebody through a crack. Not that I've tried, but whatever. How about we make John Wick have a miniature frag grenade in his pocket? So he takes out the miniature frag grenade, primes it, and tosses it through the door, and closes his ears with his fingers and waits for the explosion. The explosion happens. John Wick bursts through the door, shoots the target one more time in the head just to make sure, and runs down the street. Oh, and this door has to lead onto an alleyway. It cannot be a street because John Wick should have only one way to go. So John Wick runs out of the alleyway, and just as he's running up to the corner, a woman walks around it. And John Wick is stunned by her beauty. John Wick is so flabbergasted, he almost crashes into her, but masterfully dances around her and turns his back to the target, staring at the woman as she's continuing to walk away. From the opposite corner into that alleyway, no, not from the opposite corner into the alleyway, it has to be from across the street. There's a cop that's coming out of let's make it a bank. No, not a bank. It's going to be late in the afternoon, or even night. So how about it's not a bank, how about it's a coffee shop? The cop is coming out of the coffee shop just as John Wick gets shot in his left arm from the back, and he drops to his knees. And the woman that he imprinted on is running towards the cop, screaming, runs into the coffee shop, and the cop raises his gun, points it at John Wick because John Wick still has his gun in his right hand. John Wick is still on his knees, and the woman disappears into the coffee shop. Later on, it is revealed that that woman is the future Mrs. John Wick. So, I can't really leave the story here, can I? I'll have to finish it. And how about the cop walks up to John Wick and orders John Wick to drop his gun. John Wick drops his gun, raises his right hand over his head. His left hand is bleeding because his left arm is bleeding because he got shot. And the cop walks up and puts his hand onto his wrist. Yeah, let's make it wrist. And that is where we're going to leave off for today, and I'm going to continue this story tomorrow and see if it's going to turn out into a better story. Let's try to finish this tomorrow, maybe the day after that, and have the first meeting with John Wick and his future wife later this week. Thank you. Have a great day. I hope you were entertained.